Well, good evening, or should I say good almost morning, atheists, apologists, Christians, YouTubers. This is Leroy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. It's almost 12 o'clock here in Pittsburgh. I've been dying to do this last video, not because I'm tired of arguing with you, or not because I'm losing the battle, because I'm not in a battle with you. I love you with all my heart. I'm an old school Christian. I have this crazy belief that Jesus loves us all and just wants us all to be saved, and that the problems of this world can be defined as unreconciled to God. The problem of any country is that the people of that country need to be reconciled to God. That's just my belief. Now, anybody that's been watching my channel knows that I don't care about being an apologist. I don't care about trying to crack through your bubble of why it has to be the way you define it. But that's fine, because before there were atheists, there were people who believed in many gods. And the argument kind of went the same when it came to God's people. Let's start off. This is my closing of my epilogue. It might take me 2 or 3 videos. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. It might take me 2 or 3 videos to cover everything, especially if I'm talking between my notes and then I think I'm done and I come up with more things. First of all, I want to say, atheists, that I sympathize with you. Not all of you, but a lot of you. Because the church, I wouldn't say the church, the Christian church, but religion. Religion. You are right, atheists. It has failed you. And I'm under the understanding that the reason why atheists exist today, now yesterday it was more of a honest pagan thing. The atheists back in Noah's day. It was really an honest pagan idea. But today, atheism is based on the fact. One fact that I will agree with you with is that religion has failed. Not because, let me be clear, not because all religions have murdered all these people and done all these bad things to all these people and ruined the lives of all these people. No, I believe atheism and non-believers. Atheists are non-believers, but atheists want to be atheists. They don't want to be called non-believers. So they think non-believer is a coward. That's what they think non-believers are. I've heard them say it. They believe non-believers are cowards. That are really atheists, but they're just cowards. They're afraid to come out and admit it or some garbage like that. That's fine. But atheists and non-believers do more crime, naturally, than any religion has ever done. Now, Islam, as far as, and you know what I'm going to say, even though I'm not no way, shape, or form sticking up for Muslims, because I don't believe in, I believe in absolutes, and they're not part of the absolute. I do believe that Islam might have you beat, or maybe. There's a lot of Christians that would disagree with me on that. They believe that nobody has Islam beat. Or I'm sorry, nobody has you beat. As far as crime and hate and bullying Christians and that kind of thing. But it's been an interesting weekend for me. And even today, I've watched some videos that have just blessed my heart on YouTube. Now, let me shout out to these brilliant atheists. First of all, let's start off with Ricky Jarvis. I have to scratch stuff off as I get to it. Ricky Jarvis, I like him. I like him better off stage, though. I found that out this weekend. I hate him on stage because on stage he blasphemes. Of course, he's an atheist. He don't realize that. But he blasphemes God. He blasphemes Jesus. He blasphemes the Bible on stage in a funny way. He's going to burn for that. But I like him. He's a good, honest, intelligent, somewhat atheist. I mean, he clearly said on one of the talk shows that he did, I think he's kind of two-faced it, though, because he spoke to Piers Morgan and he said one thing, and then he spoke to what's his name? What is his name? The funny guy that has the TV show that's an atheist. Oh, I forget his name. But when he gets on there with him, it's like two comedians and he'll say something different. I think he says different things with different people, but Ricky Jarvis really impressed me with some of the things he said. And some of the things he said was that he didn't believe that, well, one of the things that he said was that he didn't believe that a lot of atheists know what they're talking about. And that whether God exists or not, that doesn't say that all religions are evil. And he also said he doesn't feel that religion needs to be destroyed. He clearly said that. He doesn't feel that religion needs to be destroyed. He said that he just doesn't feel that it belongs in our schools and our colleges. But he said everybody has the right to believe whatever they believed, and if atheists can talk bigotry towards Christians, this is what he said. He said, you better watch out, atheists, because we have just as much right to talk the same thing to you. And he said it's no different than anything else in life. I mean, the two most brilliant ones are Jarvis and what's the other one's name? Where's he at here? Jillette. Now let me Jillette, brilliant, but says that atheists don't know So religions don't know either. And that's where I disagree with him. But he was a brilliant atheist. He defined things differently than a lot of atheists define them. I mean, the way he talks is not like your average atheist. And when you look at the guy, he looks like a preacher. And he talks like a preacher, even though he's an atheist. This Penn Jillette. And he had a real sweetness to him, the way he carried himself and the way he handled Piers Morgan. Because Piers Morgan was like me. He was mad. He was steaming mad. He was going off on him. And he apologized. He says, well, I don't mean for you to take it that way. He says, well, I guess I'll be honest and say that's the way we atheists have a way of defining things. But if you want me to define it differently, out of respect for you and other Christians, I'll do so. I mean, he was very respectful. Not like a lot of these YouTube atheists I'm used to commenting back and forth with. I mean, these guys are a lot nicer, and these are level 3 atheists that we're talking about here. But he got busted because Piers Morgan busted him on the whole, center of freedom from religion stuff. And again, he gets the atheists together and he says one thing, and then when he gets on these talk shows, he says another. He does that too. They're all two-faced. I'll show you. They're all two-faced, but Jillette was on the Donald Trump apprentice program. That's where he had a start in the fame, if I'm not mistaken. And he got mad because right before the end of his season on The Apprentice, he wasn't picked. I caught this on video. I caught it. He wasn't picked as the winner. And so he always had that attitude towards Donald Trump. And so they showed all these video clips. I watched all these video clips yesterday where every time Donald Trump opened up his mouth, Jarvis was somewhere, not Jarvis, I'm sorry, Jillette was somewhere just like saying, we got to get rid of Donald Trump and we got to take him down and all like that. Now he's much older. He lost a lot of weight, and he's saying on these videos, well, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said before, because they corrected him like that but he admitted that, okay, I said what I said before he got in the office, but now that he's in the office, I understand I have to be more respectful. But I think Penn Jillette is a brilliant atheist. Ricky Jarvis, I like him off stage. He's brilliant, but on stage, he's a mocker and a blasphemer. But he said that he doesn't agree with most atheists. And he says he doesn't tamper with anyone's right to believe what they believe, just only don't bring it into our schools and colleges. I'd have to disagree with him on that. I'm not an evangelist, but I would have to disagree with him on that because I believe that what atheists don't realize is that when we justify, and there was an atheist that I was just listening to arguing with a Christian, and all he could say is, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? No moral code whatsoever. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but I do believe it's important to get ourselves back to the days where our kids have that option. What you don't understand is no kid, and this is a lie that goes on constantly in atheist propaganda. When I read it and I see it online, people speaking on YouTube like Richard Dawkins and stuff like that, it's a lie. It does not exist. This idea that we poison our kids by feeding them the gospel, and this idea that children are only Christians when they get older because they were raised that way. That does not go on in Christianity. Now, maybe that does go on in Islam, but I know as a Christian that doesn't go on. Okay? My mother did not expect me to take the gospel seriously when I was young. And I didn't really take it seriously until around the time that I was in high school. And then, I had a great time living for the Lord up until I started high school. And then when I graduated, in 1986, I began to fall away. It's called backsliding. I began to backslide because, as I said in other videos, black issues in the church, racism in the church, just hypocrisy in the church, like a lot of you atheists claim you go through. But I was there, and even though I got angry with God, I knew it wasn't God's fault. I already told you that. And it wasn't until after I backslid and went about 2-3 years faithless, a backslider, and then I got married, and it took me to go through some marriage problems for me to come back to the Lord, to really, really fully come back to the Lord. I didn't really fully come back to the Lord until probably when I started going to men's groups, like Promise Keepers and stuff like that. If any of y'all remember that, Promise Keepers was my call back into the ministry, call back into the Lord. Because I was going through all this trouble in my marriage. I was going through that trouble when we were fornicating, when we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. I was going through that trouble. That's why I don't believe in fornication. Because I understand why the Bible says don't do it. I mean, if it wasn't for fornication, I would have never had to divorce my wife because I'd have never married her. Okay? But because, guy goes out and he sleeps with some random woman who already has a common law boyfriend that she can common law call him her husband. They've been together that long. They got kids together. He goes out and he sleeps with her. She dumps her man and moves in with him. And then, she makes him feel bad because, the fighting going on. And she don't feel he's merciful about it. You make me mad and put me in a doghouse. And I got to go walk the street for hours. I don't need this. I can get another girlfriend, but that's not the way it went. The only way I could justify myself and show this woman that I appreciated her was to marry her, and that was a trap. I'm glad my kids don't watch my videos, but that was a trap, and so I know, don't do it, okay? We had that situation, that trap, and we're still divorced today. We divorced anyway, after everything, and it's like the closer I became to God, now we done went from fighting with each other on a social level. We went to fighting with each other on a Christian level. Like, I mean, she has her side of the story. I got my side of the story. Okay? I'll leave it at that. Okay? And I know what you atheists are thinking. You're thinking, well, that's what happens, Christianity doesn't help anything. It only makes things worse. No. still a man of God. Even though things didn't work out for me, I could blame myself, but I do believe it's a two-way street. And I understand this time, like I did in the first time, that it's not God's fault. Well, I knew it's not God's fault, but this time I knew, stick with God, because you're not going to do anything better without Him. And I mean, I've went through a lot. I mean, the devil's has come at me like 6 ways, and I've been, you know, even right now, I'm living on a prayer. I'm living on a blessing. I'm living on mercy, because a lot of what goes on around me, I have no control over. It's just every day the grace of God. And I'm not saying this to be spiritual. It's just a fact. Okay, it's just a fact. Who else? Sam Harris. He's very brilliant. He talks like an educator in the way he talks, but a lot of it is hearsay. It is, and it's just his ideas and not honest research. He's one of the atheists that has a habit of redefining everything in order to make himself right. And, you know, I'm not fooled by that. Okay, Sam Harris, he's bright in the way he speaks. I mean, this guy does not stutter. He speaks perfectly. But I don't think he's very honest. Matt Dillahunty, he's a real blowover. I mean, this guy is really just a blowover. I mean, his show was all about, hey, I'm an atheist. I dare you to disagree with me about it. Okay, I'll tell you what. Don't visit his show, okay? And you ain't got to worry about disagreeing with him or agreeing with him. I mean, you don't have to worry about it. Just don't visit his show. I mean, I've seen Christians call into his show and ask him questions because, you know, of stuff that they say. And Dillahunty would deny everything he said. I heard you. The guy's right, Dillahunty. You did say what you said. But then he would deny it. Okay? And he would say, then he would just like I said in the last video, shut it off with this, well, where's the evidence? Or shut it off. Well, wait a minute, Dillahunty. You contradicted what you said and the guy's correcting you. And now you want to go back to being a you know, and then he goes into like these level 2 atheists, these YouTube atheists, where it's all about you picking on him now and putting him down. But he's the one that has a show based on delivering people from their Christianity, deconverting people. But then when you call out his contradictions of what comes out of his mouth that he just said 5 minutes ago, okay, he goes somewhere else with it. And then now his favorite thing to do is, you know, just cut people off. One atheist, I was listening to him the other day too, and over the weekend, and there was a guy that got on there and asked him simple questions, and he got mad at the guy because the guy would not repeat to him what he already said, because the guy was like, well, that's not the truth. Oh, that's not the truth? No. That's not what that means. And click. You know. I mean, if he can't win, he'll just click you. Click you right out, you know. Don't visit his show and you win. I beat Dillahunty all the time because I listen to him, but I don't call the show. Because I call the show, I'm gonna be like what's his name? I'm gonna be like who is that says excuse me? Oh, Donald Trump. Yeah. Excuse me. I'm talking. Excuse me. I'm not finished. I'm talking. You know, you want to listen until I get done talking. Okay. But I'm glad that I don't have to argue with these level 3 atheists because you're going to come at me with facts. Don't talk to me about that I lack facts. But you don't come at me with facts. And when I ask you like the one I like, Penn Jillette, he's one of the ones I like. When I ask you where you got that from, you're allowed to say you don't know. It's okay. Oh, that's one of his favorite lines that he says everywhere he goes. It's okay to say you don't know. Yes, that's true, Mr. Jillette. But if you say you don't know, you give others the right to claim that they do. And I do know. Okay? I do know about my father's business. I do know about my father's. You get the spiritual connection like Jesus told Joseph and Mary. I do know about my father's business. And it ain't all that other stuff. That ain't the truth. Okay? Richard Dawkins, he's the worst. I mean, I don't even listen to anything that he... You know, anytime I listen to Richard Dawkins is if somebody else is debating with Richard Dawkins. Like, let's say, I don't know if Richard Dawkins... I don't remember if he went at it with Kent Hovind. But if Kent Hovind goes at it with Richard Dawkins, I'll watch because of Kent Hovind. But if I don't know the apologist, I won't watch it because I'm not going to let, as dumb as he sounds when he talks, I'm not going to let someone lose a debate because they don't know how to crush this man with facts or crush this man with his own contradictions, okay? And I've seen some of the, like, most average middle-class people you want to meet crush Richard Dawkins with just simple by saying this. Excuse me, wait. Didn't you just say, well, wait a minute. Well, and he gets angry. He'll get angry and blow and just go off. Okay? Richard Dawkins, God bless his heart, but he's the worst. I mean, give the guy a jar of Vaseline, really, and let him put some ointment on all his holes, because this poor fella, oh my goodness. If he is a scientist, he needs to stick to being science, because he has a habit of embarrassing himself while he tries to pour it on everything. He should stick to science and leave people's right to believe alone. I agree. I do love, though, watching him whine and cry and embarrass himself. He's the one that stirs atheists to hate Christians, and that's the main thing that I don't think is funny. He's the only one. I haven't seen Ham do it. Even Hitchens with his total disrespect of Christians. Dawkins is the only one that has said, oh, you need to deal with them with disrespect and ridicule. And he said it several times. I mean, it's his number one slogan. I mean, when you say stuff like that, okay, and I'm not going to do like atheists do me. I'm not going to whine and cry. But if you're going to be nasty to me, where'd he go? D-Roy Cruz was right here. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. He's getting in the car. He's driving off. I'm not going to be there, man. You know what I mean? Same thing with my YouTube channel. Okay? Frank MGTOW, buddy. Keep it up. One day everybody's going to be looking like Frank McTow, I just commented to his comment. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? He's just gonna be gone. He keeps it up. Okay, I don't tolerate if none of us are adults enough to have a conversation, whether you want to have a conversation through comments or live or whatever. Mr. Cool Cat is the only one so far that has subscribed to my channel, because even though he's an atheist, he does believe I have a point on some things. And me and him can disagree and agree without going off on each other. Okay? Shout out to Mr. Cool Cat. Okay? But people like Frank McTow, TikTok. How many seconds does it take to hit the delete button? How many minutes does it take to go to your channel and block you so I never have to look at you again, Mr. Frank McTow? Like I said in a video, probably about 4 or 5 videos earlier, I don't tolerate hate. Because that is the one thing that atheists, my Bible says, when it's like that, stop casting your pearls before swine. But there are some atheists out there that want to constantly be up in our face because they don't really have confidence in their atheism. They don't care about what other atheists think. They want answers. Okay? But some of y'all, a lot of y'all think y'all know the facts. But how many of you said, like Mr. Jillette, oh, I don't know, it's okay to say I don't know? Well, if you don't know, I have bad news for you. I do. Okay? Especially when it comes to my Father's business. Whatever your business is, if you don't know your business, that's your problem. But when it comes to my Father's business, I know about his business. Okay? And I know that there are no slaves downstairs locked up. There are no molested children. There are no battered wives. Okay? Neither is there any women downstairs under my floor with burqas or hijabs on their head, because I'm not a Muslim. Okay? Save the nonsense, okay, for the comedy show. The truth is, I am what I am. Okay? And because one Christian, 2 Christians, I don't care if it was 1,000 Christians, went out there, okay, and did some crazy things. I am what I am. You may feel that you can say all this stuff about Christians and you'll be right. Yeah, and it depends on what it depends on who defines Christianity. Number one. And then it depends on what Christian you are debating with, or what Christian you are. You know, if someone were to say to me, D-Roy, you're a horrible guy to talk about atheism, you might be right, because I'm not an apologist, I'm not an evangelist, and I'm not my pastor. Okay? I'm not David Lynn. David Lynn, man, I could just kiss you, man. I mean, you are so brilliant at how you on the street. This is the most brilliant street preacher in the world. David Lynn, man, I love you, man. Like, I wish I could just come to Canada and hang out with you and learn from you, man. But you're just so brilliant. You have a heart of gold, man. And I know I heard him telling his testimony on the street. He did all that stuff. He did atheism. He did drugs. He did alcohol. He did the women. He did, you know what I mean, bouncing from one religion to another, blah, 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 blah. He'd been through it. And I'm sure the guy's much younger than me, but I mean, he's brilliant. My problem is I was born and raised in the church. I probably experienced the other side of life probably for 3 years. Okay? Most Christians whether they're young or whether they're old, they've spent ample time in the world before becoming Christians. And so when they become Christians, they've been there and done that. You know what I'm saying? Like when they meet Jesus, they've done everything. That's what's so dumb about this whole so-called debate that we got, this whole war that we got going on with atheists. That's what's so dumb about it, is the fact that atheists don't understand. Everybody that is a Christian, the majority of us, except me probably, and I can't even count on one hand how many. I don't know if I know enough people on one of my hands that haven't that grew up in the church like I have. But most people that I know, a lot of them are older than me, and they did not grow up in the church. They've been atheists. They've been, having all that fun in the world, and one day they, you can argue with them all you want to. They're just going to laugh at you because they know we are who we are. If we're doing something that is honestly brainwashing even, we should be taken out in cuffs. If we're doing something to hurt children or doing something to hurt women, we should be taken out in cuffs. Okay? We've sent plenty, I know I have sent plenty of cops to people's homes in my time to arrest them. I got friends that are in prison for crazy things that they did. They're not Christians, but they're in prison for crazy things they did. I don't miss them. You say, well, that's what, and I know that atheists think that, all the Christians are in prison. If they had been a Christian, I don't think they would have ever went to prison if they had been a Christian in the first place. Okay. Christopher Hitchens, he is brilliant as long as you can agree with half of what he says. And I don't. But I was somewhat impressed with one of his speeches on Islam. I really was. But the war is against evangelism more than what one believes. Atheists just don't want Christians preaching the gospel, like I saw one guy today. But see, it's too late because now we're in like a battle. We're in a war where if I'm sitting at home saying to myself, okay, well, the days of Christians preaching the gospel are over. We don't have to do that anymore. Well, while we're sitting at home enjoying video games or watching movies or drinking tea, keeping our Christianity in a basement or keeping it behind closed doors, the atheists are out there telling people it's okay, that there is no such thing as sin. It's okay. Whatever you are, if you're not going to end up in prison tonight, it's okay. And this is where I begin to talk about morality, because the whole point is sin. The war is against evangelism more than what one believes. We are living in a day when our society is angrily becoming anti-God. Not just the atheists, but there's all these knuckleheads out here that will say they believe in God, but they sound like an atheist. But they'll keep on saying, well, I believe in God, I believe in God. You're not going to tell me I don't believe in God. Dude, you sound like an atheist. Okay? It's becoming offensive to talk about God, heaven, hell, Jesus, salvation, and the main one, sin. You can talk about devils, demons, and Satanism as long as you don't do it from a Christian standpoint. People will believe anything and be okay with any belief as long as it, doesn't come out of the Bible. That's like these people saying that the black woman is the mother of the earth. She is the man's salvation. But it would be wrong for a white man to say that about a white woman. See what I'm saying? And I'm just showing you how hypocrisy hates hypocrisy, but yet doesn't see that it is hypocrisy itself. You see what I'm saying? This war that atheists think that they are in has nothing to do with God. Yes, false religion, bigotry, yes. Crimes done by religious idiots, yes. And yes, many religious fools have lied and manipulated, but it's not God's fault, and neither is religion the trouble of the world. Guns don't kill people, people kill people, and it's people that harm people with their lies and cheating and their sins. Sin affects all peoples. Nobody is exempt from it. Atheists want to get rid of the word sin. The Apostle Paul spoke to the pagan people of his day, telling them that they were superstitious or over-religious. Anybody can be superstitious or over-religious about anything. Treating science and evolution as the laws of life is obviously superstitious. As a Christian for most of my life, being a free Christian, I know how times have changed morally, why and how. Okay? And I'm going to stop there. I think I read my, let me say this too, in closing, I'm glad I was a Christian back in the 80s. I really am. Glad I grew up in the church. Glad that I spent some time being taught in the church. Glad that I had some disappointments coming up in the faith. To me, life doesn't exist without the sovereignty of God. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. It's just illogical to me. But I see God in everything. From the weather to plants and animals, to human kindness, love, forgiveness, everything positive, it is the gift of God to me. Okay? Atheists say it's okay to say that you don't know, but yet they act like they know everything about the world and the people within it when it comes to belief. You say you don't know, you give others the place to say they do. After watching many videos over the weekend, I see now that atheists can't touch or tamper with what I believe till it comes out of my mouth in their presence. But if I'm talking to someone individually or a group has chosen to hear what I have, I will not tolerate ignorant, rude interruptions like I see atheists do all the time on YouTube. But I have found the peaceful way the Christians can preach the gospel with zero interruption from atheists and other religions. God bless you. I'm going to go to the next part. I got more notes on this. It might take me 3 videos, like I said, to cover the end of my epilogue, but good luck. I will talk to you soon. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. God bless you.